Purposely. Your life, God's purpose. Listen at purposely.com.
It's amazing how God designed our bodies to react to fear. Somehow we are created to assess the situation and respond physically in a split second. Our bodies do the reacting for us. In fight or flight mode, our bodies prepare to respond to a physical threat, filling us with adrenaline to either stay put and face the threat head on or to turn and run for safety. Your body assesses the situation fast and responds accordingly. There are also responses that don't involve decisive actions, and these are called freeze and fawn. In freezing, you feel dread, your heart pounds, and you feel paralyzed. In fawn, you respond by trying to make everyone happy and overly agree. The Bible tells us to fear God, and this fear means reverence and awe, showing respect to God. Not necessarily the dread, although having a healthy respect of God is acknowledging God's sovereignty and power. When our fear of God prompts us to action out of respect for who God is, out of gratitude and reverence, that is the kind of fear God is after. When it prompts dread and freezing, that's not what it's supposed to be. Hey, this is Jen. You're listening to the Bible for Busy People, where this week we are talking about things God considers worthless, which is interesting because God created the whole world and called what he created good. So how can anything be worthless in a good creation? Well, the things that are worthless are things that are man-made constructs or things that we warp out of proportion in some ways. Let's talk about this today. So Matthew 25 verse 14 tells a story about fear and freezing. It says, "Again, it will be like a man going on a journey." It is talking about the kingdom of heaven, "who called his servants and entrusted his wealth to them. To one he gave 5 bags of gold, to another 2 bags, and to another 1 bag, each according to his ability. Then he went on his journey. The man who had received 5 bags of gold went at once and put his money to work and gained 5 bags more. So also the one with 2 bags of gold gained 2 more. But the man who had received 1 bag went off, dug a hole in the ground, and hid his master's money. After a long time, the master of those servants returned and settled accounts with them. The man who had received 5 bags of gold brought the other 5. 'Master,' he said, 'you entrusted me with 5 bags of gold. See, I have gained 5 more.' His master replied, 'Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness.' The man with 2 bags of gold also came. 'Master,' he said, 'you entrusted me with 2 bags of gold. See, I have gained 2 more.' His master replied, 'Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness.' Then the man who had received 1 bag of gold came. 'Master,' he said, 'I know that you are a hard man, harvesting where you have not sown and gathering where you have not scattered seed. So I was afraid and went out and hid your gold in the ground. See, here is what belongs to you.' His master replied, 'You wicked, lazy servant. So you knew that I harvest where I have not sown and gather where I have not scattered seed. Well, then you should have put my money on deposit with the bankers so that when I returned, I would have received it back with interest. So take the bag of gold from him and give it to the one who has 10 bags. For whoever has will be given more, and they will have in abundance. Whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them. And throw that worthless servant outside into the darkness where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth." Worthless being the key word. There's a lot going on here. First of all, it is hard to see this as a one-on-one comparison to God. There's another parable that we'll talk about next that shows a contrast to God to emphasize his goodness. I think that could be the same here. Like, how much more should we be faithful to a good master? Then again, it's possible that the third servant only perceived the master to be hard or to use questionable tactics. I noted in my book, She's Not Your Enemy, that the servant's perspectives of the master affect everything else. Now, some translations use the word talent instead of bag of gold, which would have been a unit of money, but also could mean literally a gift or talent. God gives us gifts and talents. Will we use them for his glory? The Working Preacher commentary from Luther Seminary says this about the master's response. The master is furious. He had entrusted this servant with a portion of his property in order that the slave would use his abilities that had helped the master in the past, in order to turn a profit for his lord. The slave, however, was too afraid to take a risk, even though risky behavior was part of the master's business. Instead, he attempted to secure his own well-being. In the end, his unfaithfulness to carry on the master's work cost him severely. The Enduring Word commentary adds, we might say that the servant did not have a proper fear of his master, but an unfitting fear of risk and failure. This is an instance where we are viewing our own value through the eyes of the world, securing our own well-being, fear of failure. God expects us to take the risk and use what we've been given, and there's a reward for that, whether or not it looks like how we think it will. Here's another parable where the person in charge is harsh and hardened. Luke 18 verse 1 says, Then Jesus told his disciples a parable to show them that they should always pray and not give up. He said, In a certain town there was a judge who neither feared God nor cared what people thought. And there was a widow in that town who kept coming to him with the plea, Grant me justice against my adversary. For some time he refused, but finally he said to himself, Even though I don't fear God or care what people think, yet because this widow keeps bothering me, I will see that she gets justice, so that she won't eventually come and attack me. And the Lord said, Listen to what the unjust judge says. And will not God bring about justice for his chosen ones who cry out to him day and night? Will he keep putting them off? I tell you, he will see that they get justice, and quickly. However, when the Son of Man comes, will he find faith on the earth? Where the two faithful servants before used what they had, this story emphasizes a woman in need. Here, she's honored for her risk-taking and perseverance in asking for the help that she needs. The judge here isn't a measure-for-measure comparison to God, but rather a way of saying how much more would God be willing to care for you when you ask for something that you need. The third servant in the parable of the bags of gold or talents is called wicked and lazy by the master, and later, our key word, worthless. His fear paralyzed him. He didn't work what he had. He didn't invest it. He didn't ask for help. He buried it and waited. Now, fear is not a bad thing. It tells us when something needs attention. And our fear of God is one of reverence and awe. But when fear wins out over our God and our faith and keeps us from any kind of motion, it is taking God's place. So how will you take one step away from fear and towards faith today? Even if the fear seems overwhelming, how can you take one step away from it and one step towards faith? I will talk to you again tomorrow about our topic of worthlessness.
Thank you for listening to The Bible for Busy People. If you need prayer or want to go deeper in your faith, visit our show notes. Will you take a moment to share with a friend and leave a review? It helps the Bible get into even more people's minds and hearts. Find more podcasts that will recharge you at purposely.com.